Arcaea is a rhythm video game, developed and published by the British company Laur. The game functions as a vertical scrolling rhythm game with an accompanying story displayed in visual novel format, and that's what we're focusing on today, the story. Now, unlike other games, Arcaea's story is kinda hard to comprehend. Well, even I made a lot of mistakes after reading for the first time. 但其实啊，都按照中文的谜语人翻译，真的还不如看英文原版。我跟你们讲。But now, I'm fully prepared, and 7.0 is coming, so I think it's a good time to revisit the story and see what happened and what will happen. Divine oblivion. Wonder what that means. Before we start, I will only focus on the main story, which means language, bye-bye. And spoilers ahead. If you want to experience the story and all the anomalies on your own, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and add it to the watch later list. 日本語しか話せないならすみません。私は日本語がわかりません。한국어만 할 수 있으려 안 되면 죄송합니다. 제가 한국어를 못했어요. Without further ado, let's begin. First, let's talk about the overview of the Arcaea universe. The universe of Arcaea is a beautiful glass-like purgatory existing in the crevices between reality and time. It acts as a processing ground for the dead or dying souls who harbor severe trauma or unresolved regrets. When a soul is targeted, it enters a zone of pure darkness where the core of Arcaea extracts and clones its consciousness. Every trauma, identity trait, and memory is crystallized into glass fragments called Arcaea. The world then creates a flawless, undying physical duplicate of the person. This copy possesses full self-awareness, but is fundamentally a hollow shell built to loop endlessly in the prison of its own past, and the real soul sets free to heaven. So, who created the Arcaea? In the real world, Hikari was a deeply isolated, emotionally numb girl plagued by intense self-destructive tendencies. She lived in absolute void. In her despair, she unconsciously made a wish. I want some place that could bring me happiness. And so, her wish birthed the Arcaea world. When her soul was pulled into it, it was too heavy to be perfectly replicated, so just left her duplicate self with a blank canvas of identity and absolute childlike innocence. Do remember that the Arcaea world is the real world Hikari's unconscious subconscious mind. She wandered aimlessly, purely attracted to the blinding, beautiful glass shards of happy memories. So, she spent centuries collecting positive memories and built an artificial glass sky. As she continuously absorbed overwhelming amounts of unearned joy, she stopped thinking. The memories slowly erode her willpower and self-awareness until her mind is completely swallowed by her own creation. She entered the permanent state of catatonic bliss, looking up at the empty sky with zero individual thought left. And so, this is the final outcome. However, in another chronological timeline, a blood-red Arcaea shard containing her own real-world traumatic memories suddenly falls from her artificial canopy. This anomaly violently shook her awake from her mindless state. She realized that superficial happiness had blinded her for centuries. She gripped the shard until her hands bled, shattered her artificial sky, and broke out of the trance. And so, Fractured Hikari represents this newly awakened, battle-ready version who is finally willing to face the harsh, painful truth of the world. Now I know someone might be confused. How can there be two Hikaris? That's because they exist as simultaneous parallel possibilities or split timelines branching out from the exact same point in time. Both timelines start identically. Hikari happy, collecting shards, la la la. As the centuries drag on, she entered an old cathedral and felt a sudden wave of boredom and numbness from the repetition. Right there, the universe splits into two simultaneous parallel realities based on how her mind handles that numbness. If she allows her thoughts to completely drift away, she descends into a catatonic hollow state where her identity is wiped. This timeline hits a literal brick wall and stops permanently. But when the red shard appears, she forcefully snapped out of her century-long trance and recovered her sanity. You can consider the 1ZR timeline as a what-if, because the real timeline is the fracture one. Do you remember the fracture ray anomaly? Yes, you're mechanically required to play Headhunterz strike using skill locked 0 Hikari. This is actually the manifestation of Hikari choosing to abandon her own identity, emotions, and divine programming as the world's creator.
嗨，这里是后期的 TB 啊。那么我这里补充一点，虽然 Arcaea 世界中的光是一个复制品，但是 Arcaea 仍然把复制光视为神明，从而赋予了神性。Arcaea 的首要职责就是保证光快乐，所以才会陷入 ZR 的剧情里，所以才要说为了摒弃神性而挣脱。好的，我们继续。
Now, because the world of Arcaea constantly archives every timeline, reality, and identity fragment, both versions are saved into the system. And that's why you can see 3 forms of Hikari at the same time. We'll leave Hikari's story for now and let's look at the second heroine, Tairitsu. Now, you know how the timeline split works, we'll just pick up the pace here. Tairitsu was a shaper from Lethon. Unlike Hikari, Tairitsu's awake was surrounded by malicious, painful shards. Enraged and horrified by these fragments, she resolved to collect and permanently destroy them. At this point, her path similarly split. One is that her hatred turned into a destructive mania. She pulled a massive castle tower down upon herself, crushing this branch of the timeline in shattered glass as Axiom Tairitsu. The other is bypassing the mania. She allowed the pain to numb her into a quiet, emotionless void as Grievous Lady Tairitsu. Armed with a parasol and accompanied by glass crows, she wandered the ruins, desperate to find a living entity to violently break. Now you can see why Grievous Lady interrupted Axiom Crisis, because she bypassed her mania. And so the two girls eventually met in an abandoned cathedral. Hikari's pure optimism briefly sparked warmth in Tairitsu, who secretly resolved to protect the fragile light. However, their soul resonance threatened the survival instinct of the Arcaea universe. So, the world forced a shard of the past erased timeline loop into Tairitsu's vision. A prophecy showing Hikari killed Tairitsu. When Hikari reflexively pulled out a defensive glass shard, Tairitsu perceived it as an imminent threat. Her mind snapped. She touched a deep anomaly from the lowest world and unlocked the ultimate truth. The entire universe was merely an empty playground built for Hikari, and everyone else was a fake copy. Transformed into Tempest Tairitsu, she weaponized this reality warping power to torture Hikari, aiming to kill her and force the Arcaea universe to collapse. In-game, during the 3.0 update, if you want to unlock Tempestissimo, you need to go to this website, acquire a code, and enter in-game to unlock it. That's how Tairitsu got the lowest world anomaly. See the footage yourself. Then the war escalated into an apocalyptic struggle. Driven to the brink of survival, Hikari tapped into her latent creator powers, summoning a white holy fire and a reality-altering sword. She reached out and gently touched Hikari's cheek. In that fraction of a second, Hikari realized Tairitsu was conflicted and harbored a hidden death wish. But it was too late. The blade pierced Tairitsu's chest, killing her instantly. Due to Hikari's feelings of genuine love and the guilt of this mid-strike, the timeline splits again. In one timeline, Hikari violently rejected this destiny. Experiencing genuine human love and shattering guilt for the first time, she used her life to threaten the core of Arcaea. At the edge of the world, the wandering soul of the original, real-world Tairitsu met the fading duplicate, comforting her and passing on her essence. Yes, Tairitsu's own soul and the duplicate soul are both stuck in the Arcaea world. Her own original soul spent centuries silently watching its own star-crossed, memory-wiped copy wander the wide earth below. Hikari rewrote the fundamental rules of the universe, dragging Tairitsu's real soul back into her copy's healed body. This act shattered the core of Arcaea, sentencing the world to inevitable decay. And the two of them gave up their divinity, which means they no longer have the power to manipulate Arcaea. the two girls set off into a fading mortal world, abandoning past memories to live a meaningful life together. This is the true timeline, which directly leads to Act 2. But in another timeline, Hikari submitted to the whispers of the world and accepted her divine birthright as a goddess. She left Tairitsu dead for real, and Arcaea returns to becoming a beautiful, warm world of white. Unfortunately, most of the remaining characters begin to lose their minds and waste themselves away for 1,000 years, and whatever left of Hikari's sanity and innocence was gone for good, overbearing the guilt of becoming a murderer, although she still believes that she did the right thing. Well, at least copy Tairitsu's fate is still better than the real Hikari, living in the rest of her days in insurmountable despair, right? Right? It goes without saying that trying to kill the copy of an actual physical god who seemingly comes with the exact same reality warper powers as the original isn't a good idea, even if she has no idea what she is. Tairitsu learned that the hard way. And that is the entire story of Act 1. I hope you guys can understand a bit more now. And Inside Intruded, announcing this video to a halt. We'll talk about Act 2 in the next video, so see you soon! Now, in the end, out of pure amusement, if, in the real world, psychologically speaking, Hikari has anhedonia, escapism, subconscious suicidal ideation, dissociative amnesia, and depersonalization, while Tairitsu has CPTSD, system-induced psychosis, sadistic decompensation, paranoia, and borderline splitting. If talking about copy Hikari's powers in the Arcaea world, she has hierokinesis, emokinesis, chronokinesis, pyrokinesis, ferrokinesis, spatial kinesis, nomokinesis, photokinesis, animokinesis, neokinesis, energokinesis, immortality, tamaku, environmental deconstruction, reality warping, attack, reflection, weapon creation, blast, omniscience, non-physical interaction, restoration, supernatural willpower summoning, and resonance. Kobe Tairitsu has Envokinesis, Uberkinesis, Geokinesis, Immortality, Summoning, Damaku, Environmental Deconstruction, Night Omniscience, Flight of Recreation, Power Notification, and Photokinesis, all based on the story.